If a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? When freedom is won and the victory bells are rung, what is that reason to rejoice until you hear that voice of that invoice, blood-bought, declaring emancipation here and now, ready? With soldiers marching steady, bearing forth news into Galveston, Texas that Juneteenth day. A new era was birthed. Freedom sang, status is rearranged, cause for celebration for this new reality to live into. And yet a century and a change later today, we still need to recollect that Juneteenth day. When we still see those chains, wondering about the change, do we still declare that freedom reigns? Perhaps it is a song to still be sung on repeat for all to hear that we are one and the freedom won. Dear Black brother and sister, community, you were such a large part of my story. Without you, I wouldn't even write and recite spoken word poetry, or know how raw one can be an expression like silhouette of young Camilla, arms flailing, backdrop of burning buildings, LA riots. Chadwick Boseman, such dignity, brilliance, and presence. Tupac, how life can reflect such poetry, the rose that grew from concrete. And Denzel and the HBCU and the great debaters compelling me to write and to use my own voice. I am what I am in large part because of you. As I'm struck by the fight and resilience of Jackie Robinson in 42, by the sheer vision and unsubdued determination of freedom's Underground Railroad conductor, Harriet Tubman, and the raw expression and unhindered creativity of LA's Crump community, the love and welcoming shown unto me by what came to be a Black church family. Yet I also see the context of oppression and struggle, 12 years a slave. Mass incarceration and the ever-present fight for equity, 13th. MLK Jr. and Malcolm X, both civil rights leaders assassinated, and current mass media on the daily reporting endless tragedies. See, as Asian Americans, we've also shared centuries of history, struggle, and activism in this land. We've seen our community, especially the women and our elders, beaten, spat on, shoved to the ground, and murdered while being called the cause for the problem, told just to go back home. Which is why my mom has feared leaving home. Yet this home is where we're at. Right here and now. Our roots anchoring deeper into the soil, planted to do this land good, empowered to be who we are, yearning to receive love with the propensity to reflect it forward and around as a diamond stone with multiple unique cuts to refract the light, illuminating the dark night at the speed of sound. I remember just recently what it felt to be free. Watching our kids play in the quietest sunny afternoon day, turning up the soundtrack to a favorite Japanese anime, Tonari no Totoro, filling my soul with a love for my own culture and heritage while cherishing these little ones and hearing their voices. I think about my mother and her warm soul, sunny through the journey she traversed in her weathered soul, Japan to America, and the stories that she would tell at our family dinner table with my wife and kids, 3 generations present. Hope, initially seemingly distant in the land of Japan and my ancestors, yet its presence present in the penmanship of such audible calligraphy. I am not your model minority, not made to be perpetually foreign either to this land. I do not need to match myself up to the status quo. Strike myself as a hard rock against flint, cast spark and light up just to prove my worth when value is intrinsically given. See, my people were incarcerated and excluded. Our struggles, though often silenced, still speak and our voices call for justice, equity, and peace. And Black Asian American solidarity has been and is, and if we fail to hear that sound of harmony, we need to keep hearing the song heard all along that we are one in the freedom won. We are one underneath the sun. And your march for civil rights was for ours as well, so we join in. And our voice and representation anew is to further others in turn in diversity and oneness. Are we able then to receive the light dawning upon eager fields and untilled hardened soil, waiting patiently in this void for blossoming seasons to come, so let it rain upon a seed crushed before its transformation like hope, manifesting to a blooming plant or a tree within composition of a grand orchestra of a force whose harmony speaks. One can hardly recognize the value and the origins of what was before such glorious transformation that started with the planter that knew what each seed was meant to be. And amidst the rain and the storm, where our value and purpose can be personally hard to identify, others on the outside looking in just may see that bow and arc of a neatly aligned and bright array of colors. Your beauty and resilience speak streaks of brilliance across the sky. We see what each other cannot. How vital the voices of those on the outside looking in, speaking up, and the voice that rang out of the sky. You are my sun, chosen and marked by my love, the light of my life, setting off a movement, giving endless freedom, sight, inclusion, and life. The power of words may be the very means by which the shackles over our eyes are broken and lifted off, and those at enmity's end can be restored, and we can see ourselves and one another freely while spitting verses and spitting images of one another in cohesive poetry. While some days we don't know how we keep going, each day the light comes in from the east, Creator sustaining the whole earth, causing these rooms to be living. And so we keep praying and believing. If another one of us were to fall, and no one was around to hear it, cries would echo through the whole earth as a hollow chamber. The ground would testify to our Creator, He would hear it. And if a seed is buried in the ground, is crushed and gives forth to life, and no one is there to know it, it still gives forth the means to breathe. And if we are set free to demonstrate and declare who we're truly meant to be, bringing honor, bringing hope, let us envision that globally, live it locally, and repeat and remember the sound of harmony, because we are all still waiting to hear it and to keep hearing an audible sound.